Alright, let's see how much full body tracking costs nowadays. Alright, $130 a piece for trackers. I also own a Quest. I'm going to need base stations, and of course they're out of stock. You know what, that's fine. I could get some refurbished ones later. Oh my god, that's $400 fucking dollars. Shit. I wonder if there's an easier way. Okay, so this is for April tag tracking. I'm going to link the Discord and I'm going to link the GitHub page in the description of this video. You're going to want to go ahead and download the April tag trackers. I use the beta version because I'm stupid. Normally those programs fall apart pretty easy if there's issues with them, which is why they're in beta. So let's go ahead and download the regular one. Then you're going to open that up, extract it. You're going to go ahead and install the drivers. So that's going to be in this folder right here. Hit install. It should pop up. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get everything ready for the April tag tracking. So these right here are going to be the trackers. You're going to take these, you're going to print them. And then what I did is I actually attached them to cardboard. So the first one's going to be for the hip, the second one's going to be for your first leg, and the third one is going to be for your second leg. And those are the front trackers, and then there's also back ones if you want 360. Again, first one's for the hip, second is for the first leg, and third is for the second leg. These are what my trackers look like. Yes, I know they are very scuffed, but they do just fine. Alright, so we're going to actually open up April Tag Tracker. We're going to go into Parameters. The web camera ID is going to be whatever your camera is, so just mess around with that until the camera actually is the right one. And you can test that by going hitting Save, and then going to Camera, Start, Stop, Preview Camera, just to see exactly which camera that it's using. I have mine set up to my web camera, which is a Logitech, and it is a 30 FPS camera. And it uses a 1080p resolution, and you do have to set those as well. And then if you're using track, make sure that you're saying that you're ignoring the first tracker, because the first tracker, or I guess the tracker 0, is going to be your hip. And I can also do a tutorial on track later. So once we start up our camera, one thing you're going to want to pay attention to is the exposure of the camera. We want to make sure that it is at full resolution and it is running at the highest FPS it can, which mine is at 30 FPS, which is great. And you see that the resolution is 1080. And if you need to adjust anything, definitely adjust it so that way it can read everything on the computer screen, because we're going to have to do that later for calibrating the camera. And right here, I'm just setting my computer monitor up to actually calibrate the camera. I have to move everything off to the side a little bit because unfortunately I only have one monitor right now. This is the board we're going to be using to calibrate. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit Calibrate Camera. And it's going to tell you that purple is good, purple is great, green is good, and yellow is bad. So we want to try and get everything as green and purple as possible. So to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to aim our camera at the computer, and it's going to take a picture every second, and little dots are going to start appearing when you aim it at the board. And you want to get different angles, different depths, just make sure that it's getting good tracking. Once the calibration process is complete, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually calibrate our trackers. So go ahead and stick them on. Once again, I use Velcro to tie them around my legs, and I'll show you exactly how to calibrate your trackers. So green means that one is already calibrated and ready to go. Purple means it needs to get closer to the camera, and then once it hits yellow, you want to leave it there because it's actually calibrating the tracker. There's the first one done. And then the second one is going right now. Boom. Now we're calibrated. Easy peasy. Again, with a higher FPS camera, the better it's going to track because there's not going to be any motion blur. This is why we also pay attention to exposure. And then you're going to hit connect to SteamVR. You see that the tracker's actually popped up there, and we're going to go ahead and preview the camera. We're going to take calibrate, and then we hit start and stop. And what you're going to see in SteamVR is you're actually going to see a little white camera. Now, what that is that's actually the virtual camera, and you're going to press your trigger to align the camera. Here I am messing with the exposure again, that way the camera can actually see the trackers. Again, exposure is very important when it comes to April tag tracking. And then you're going to see a little white camera inside of SteamVR. And to move that, I know on mine, it's the top trigger on my left controller. And I try and get it as close to my controller as possible, and then I align it to my camera that's in my room, because that's where it's going to be. Perfect. And then it's going to be the same thing with the trackers, except I use the bottom trigger, and I just kind of like touch the top of my tracker just to make sure it's all lined up correctly, and then I set them in place. Now it should be all good, and you can actually exit out of calibration mode on April tag tracking. Again, I use OOTrack for my hip. This is just an IP-based camera, or an IP-based tracker for your phone. It uses the sensors in your phone to actually use as your hip tracker, which right now I'm just calibrating it. Of course, you can't see it because the camera's kind of off screen here a little bit, but once we get everything calibrated, what I do is I just tie a belt. What I do is I just put a belt around my hip, and then I just put my phone in there on my right side. It's really jank, but you know what? It works just fine. And you can actually do that through the SteamVR as well. It just popped up on my screen because it knew what I was doing, essentially. Now we're going to go ahead and open up VRchat. And once you log in and get into a world, you're actually going to hit calibrate FBT. That's going to replace the stand sit option. And then you're going to calibrate your trackers by getting the white spheres as close to your trackers on your avatar as they are in real life. And there we go. Now you have really cheap full body tracking. Again, this isn't the best option. It's just the best option for being on an extreme budget. I typically use it just to sit down and relax and talk to people. I mean, I've done a little bit of dancing with it, but you know, there's not a whole lot that you can really do with this. But it's pretty nice, because now you can just go sit in a black hat and be one of those FPT fuckboys, but, you know, to each their own. So for a little bit more general information, I can do another video on a more detailed installation for this, that way it's less confusing, and I did just do a voiceover for this, and I don't exactly remember what I was trying to show the camera, mostly just because OBS didn't pick up my mouse, which, I mean, it's whatever, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I really hope you guys like the video. Again, if you want more explanation, I can do another video for you. And yeah, you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching my video.